I'm going ahead and give a quick shout out to everybody. What's up, everybody? I see Warrior Bride. What it do, fam? I saw Miss Colette slide through this thing earlier. What's up, Leslie? What's going on with you? My man Mo in the building. We see you, Jay. What's up? What's up? Hey, we are so blessed that you are here. Miss Davis, what's going on with you? Miss Carolyn, what's happening now? Hey, we are let us pray, y'all. Now I'm messing with you. Bree, what's good? What's happening? Hey, it's so good to see you all on today, on this evening. Real quick, what we cooking up in the kitchen? Air sandwiches. We are cooking air sandwiches. Yes, some air sandwiches. Man, those are good. Yo, you can make one right now. I'm going to tell you, you can make an air sandwich right now. You hear me? Let's go ahead and do this. Right here. Boom! Oh, yeah. So that's what's going on. So listen. Because I took a call like right before everything took place, it kind of took up my prep time. And so I know that if I was to start prepping right now, yeah, it's gonna be a minute. So like before I cook, before we come on, I've already prepped a lot of stuff, and so then therefore, we don't have to be here all night. Because a lot of stuff that is gonna take, like for the stuff I was gonna cook, it was gonna take like it's a 30-minute prep time, but then it's another 20-minute cook. It's a 30-minute prep time, but a 20-minute cook time. So I try to get the prep out the way so that we can just pretty much cook. Once we get on live, and so so that's pretty much what's taking place today. So because my prep time was taken up, yeah, it's pretty much an air sandwich on this evening. But we do have conversation. So you ain't got to leave. You can actually stay here. Now, if you was coming because you wanted to see what I was going to cook, see what I was cooking, what I had planned to cook. So I was going to do some chicken wraps with cheese and string beans within the that's in the center of the chicken, and laid it over a nice little rice, and then hit it with some with a nice caper sauce. But that's what I was gonna do, but things didn't turn out that way, right? So I know you all was like, okay, what y'all talking about? That's cool. Ass sandwich. I got mine over here. What we talking about tonight? Listen. We want to talk about, so we've kind of noticed that there's been folks talking about roles of the spouse. So if you got any questions with that real quick, roles of the spouse, go ahead and drop them on in there, because I know we finna help somebody. Come on here now. And the one thing about it, a lot of times is that we have not been able, I won't say we have not been able, but a lot of times we look at far as in the older generation and versus the new generation. So you got what you got. You got the Gen X, you got the Gen Z, we got is there Gen Y? I think in there Gen Y. Oh, I have no idea. But you got all these generation numbers, right? And so understanding with time, things change, things shift. Life circumstances comes into play, and so then therefore there are just certain things that's not going to look the same. But at the same sense, guess what? We are still locked in on what we're still locked in on how can I say we're still locked in on trying to do the life as we did as things was done in the past. So it's being able to recognize certain things. Ty, what's going on, buddy? And so it's being able to recognize certain things even as we grow individually and collectively. It's being able to understand those certain things. So real quick, I forgot to get an intro. It's your boy E-Rock and Marriage Takeover. Wifey will be joining us momentarily. Marriage Takeover. We've been married for going on 27 years. And you name it, we've had to deal with it. And so what we do, our main goal is to help couples win in their marriage by identifying their triggers and breaking those generational cycles. And it's awesome. So you kind of look at it. We've had to deal with it, especially in our early years. And so on this platform, man, listen, on this platform, we just like to let marriages know it's like, yo, you too can make it. Especially when you lean and depend on who you say that God is in your life. Amen. So I'm gonna ask real quick if there any questions, concerns, comments. And I'm gonna try my best to jump on in here till wifey come. Any questions, concerns, comments going on, sweetheart? And also, if you have any questions, please drop those down. Drop them down in the chat. We're gonna try and hit those as well. But I really kind of want to understand, what are those moments, right? When we're looking at what our roles are. Okay, no comments. Awesome, awesome. So real quick shout out to. We're gonna give a shout out to Georgia for stopping by. Shout out to Pennsylvania, um, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, D.C. I did say Pennsylvania, right? And New Jersey. Thank you all for joining us on the day. And if you haven't dropped in where you checking in from, go and drop it in there. We're gonna shout it out as well. But hey, and so when you begin to just look at your roles, just look at where you at right now. Texas in the building, we see you. Um, when you begin to look at the things that you do in your house to build, right? What is those things that's, I guess, that you're doing that's saying, oh, this is what this spouse is supposed to do, right? Because we look at those, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes we got to look at those things. I'm seriously trying to figure some things out real quick. So hey, so drop your question on in there, and when we sit there and talk about it, y'all listen. Let me tell y'all this. It's so funny because when we saw that, we actually had written a book. We actually had written about this, and it says, "Know your role in your marriage." Mississippi in the building. Know your role in your marriage, right? So it's so funny when we sit back and talk about that. But go ahead, drop your questions on in there in the chat. We're gonna show enough dig into it. What you got? Any questions, concerns, comments come across?
The rules should not change when one or the other spouse may lose employment, right? Basically, the rules in the household should not change when one or the other spouse may lose employment.
Well, the question is, it's like, okay, why can't it? Why can't it change if Ohio in the building? Why can't it? If a spouse have lost employment, why can't it shift? Notice what I said, shift. It doesn't mean it has to stay that way, but why can't it shift? See, that's the thing because I've had to face unemployment before. Being a husband, my wife had to face unemployment before, and so so it's like whatever role that you are fulfilling, why can't it shift? And then even at that same time, our roles, like for instance, like I think we might have talked about this, oh man, some time ago, but it's like when it comes down to like cleaning the bathroom, right? Wifey can do everything except for she hate doing the toilet. No problem. I do the toilet. I can knock it out, right? So, but the thing is like, okay, why can't it shift? So if you don't normally do laundry, right? But you've lost your unemployment. So therefore, in between going to interviews and putting your resume out there, you need clothes. Why can't the regular household stuff be done? You see what I'm saying? Now, it's one thing to say, if I don't know how to do this, and another thing to say, I don't want to do this. See, so you have to understand when you're talking about building your house, right? When you laid your foundation, guess what? You might be a plumber. I'll put it like this. I had learned something real quick. I had a plumber. And this is why I had the plumber. I had the plumber because he can plumbing is his thing, right? But he did not know how to do patchwork. So I had to pay for someone else. So if he had to put a hole in the ceiling and to fix the pipe, cool. But then I had to pay somebody else to come back out and do patchwork that where it looks like it's like brand new. So I was like, well, man, who can do both of them, right? And so basically, I end up finding a plumber that can dig in the hole and patch it. So I'm like, oh, sweet, this is good. So what is that? That's saying, oh, that means that this may not be your forte, but you can still do it. And so that's one thing to understand. It's like one thing to say, oh, I won't do it, versus another one saying I can't do it. Granted, if your spouse is always fading the clothes, clothes getting different colors, being bled on, laundry might not be their thing. It may not be their thing. But understanding what your roles are, man, it's like this is where we have to be able to come together and have a conversation and be like, you know what, hey, I understand, you know, where we at right now. But I do need some help. Understand, it's about the oneness. Any other questions, concern, comment?
How do you discuss bill paying when the wife makes the most?
How do you discuss bill paying when the wife makes the most? Huh? That's a good question. That is a good question. So, number one is you gotta look at, do you budget? Right? If the wife makes the most, how are our accounts as a couple set up? Because if it's all coming into one house, is it your money and my money? Or is it our money? And so you got to begin to look at it like that, because now if you're saying, hey, this is the bill account, then why can't we pay bills? See, the thing that trips me out, I understand, this is just my mindset. Back in the day when I had a roommate, right? We would split the bill down the line. Back then, we actually had a phone. We had a landline, right, that we had to pay for. So we would split that bill, and we had cable. So we would split that bill. So that means we would come together and we'll put our money, right, to pay the bill. So, but what tripped me out was that when I got married, I don't have a roommate anymore. He said the two shall be one. So I don't have a roommate anymore. I have a wife to now where we are one. So now how can we bring our funds together? Because then it doesn't matter on who makes the most. And I'm going to be 100 with you all. I only made more than my wife for 6 months. That's it. 6 months, literally. I got a raise. I think I made like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 more than her. 6 months later, she got a promotion and blew me out the water. She made 10, 15 more thousand to me, right? So, but we was not looking at who's bringing in what. It's like, how are we going to reach our goal?
Hey y'all, hey.
Oh, look who done walked in the building. I was just keeping your seat warm.
You was just keeping my seat warm, baby.
I was keeping it warm for you,
You normally up cooking, so it's a little different. Hey y'all, hey y'all,
I know.
hey.
We're gonna get your guy tonight out of this.
We've been busy, y'all. We've been working today. I heard the question that came through: how do you do the bills if the wife makes more? And baby,
what's your thoughts?
You said, you elaborated on, like, I guess what the roommate situation. Here's the thing, right? Whether the wife or the husband makes more, specifically the wife, since the question was answered, if the wife makes more, listen, it's all going into the same household. So if it's going into the same household, make sure that you're budgeting in a way to where the funds are taking care of the household. So you bring all the funds together. like I wanted to say the Bible scripture. Bring all the funds
Bring all the tithes into the storehouse.
Bring all the funds into the storehouse.
So they can be meat in your house.
And you bring it into one pot, right? It should be simultaneous. And I get it. Like, a lot of people have their own insecurities. A lot of people have their own fears. A lot of people have their own, because auntie and grandma said, baby, make sure you always keep you a stash, right? So we are going off of our family members, right? And our friends, their unhealed emotions, right? Sometimes it was wisdom, sometimes it's out of fear. Like, the only reason why you need to set aside a stash is out of fear.
Come on.
Well, it's out of fear.
Yeah.
Like, you are operating from a space, the root of it is fear.
Right.
So if he does this or if she does this, then I can make sure that I have a safety net here. And it's rooted at the root of that is fear.
Fear.
Right? A lot of us can say that it's wisdom. A lot of us can say, but listen, if I am trusting my spouse and my spouse is doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're bringing everything together. We got one goal.
Right.
We got one goal, which is to make sure that we are elevating the house that we are in.
Come on,
that
baby.
we are making sure that we, as a team, we are coming together to meet our goals, to meet our obligations, to meet the dreams and aspirations that we are setting aside, to make sure that we are building a foundation for our family, to make sure that we are doing what's necessary to be able to grow together. Then guess what? I don't need to set aside a stash, right? Let's put that in the budget. It's called your allowance.
Right.
So let's put it in their budget. And if you want to save your allowance for a trip, if you want to save your allowance for whatever you want to save it for, then do it for that. But don't undercut yourself to say, I'm hiding away this amount of money because I don't want my spouse to know that I'm doing it. Bring all of your money together.
Right.
And now here's a caveat. If your spouse has an issue with money, with funds, then y'all need to sit down and have a real adult conversation.
Some wisdom got to take place.
Right. Let's sit down and have a real adult conversation. Who's better at making sure that they're paying the bills? Who's better at handling, making sure that, something is falling through the crack? Who is the spender and who is the saver? Right? Understanding what those dynamics are and understand who's better at what, and then using wisdom in that particular space.
Right.
It's not saying you can't have access or that you can't have. It's let's make sure we're putting boundaries in place because we understand each other's weaknesses, we understand each other's strengths, and these again are our common goals. We want to make sure we're hitting these goals.
Right. And then also check your ego, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Oh, because my wife makes more money than XYZ. No, you have to now check your ego. It does not make you less of a man because your wife makes more money. And then also, wives, guess what? You got to check your ego. Just because you make more money does not mean that you got to belittle your husband because because you were brought up on the man has to what's the word I'm looking for? That what they say, it's been so long I forgot. That the man got to bring in the bacon. No.
Right. I was gonna say, and sis, it does not mean because you make more money than your husband, it does not mean that you get to run stuff.
Right.
Right. It's still you both coming together, you both sitting down having a mature conversation. I remember when that was like a big thing. Right? It was a big thing to make sure that your husband was making more than you and that he was providing, he was doing all these I don't know if that's still the case now. I hadn't been out there in these streets is like that for a long time. But the moment that I stopped caring about that is because like it was number one, I grew up, I matured, and I realized that we're not competing against each other.
Come on.
We're doing this together as a team. We're doing this together as a unit.
Right.
We are coming together and we're saying we're conquering these things together. Period. And when you're on the same team, like you're not competing to get like a certain position.
Right.
You just not doing that when you're truly on a unified team. That means everybody in their role is playing their role. And one of the reasons we brought this up was because we were looking on TikTok and saw this video, y'all. I don't even know the name of the video, but I guess it was a podcast or they were interviewing somebody, and there was a woman. I'm assuming she was a wife. I don't know what her role was, y'all, but I'm assuming she was a wife, and she was just talking about how, she was just going in, how much she was, the women were so tired because we were cooking and we're cleaning and we're doing all of the stuff. We're taking care of the kids. We're doing all of that stuff. And then while the husband is sitting down on the couch. And so the guy was like, well, and he was like, and, You the wife, that's your role. Like, what are you supposed to do? We're out here taking out the trash, cleaning out the gutters, doing all this other stuff. There's specific roles for the wife that I don't want to do because I ain't the wife. And then you don't want to do our roles. Like, if your tire goes flat, it's my responsibility to make sure that you got what you need and what's necessary for your vehicle. You don't want to have to do that, right? And so it was an interesting conversation. And I was like, ooh. I said they were both making really good valid points. But who said that there had to be a role for the wife and a role for the husband where they're doing these certain specific tasks? Mm-hmm. Right? Like let's really talk about that. Who said that? Right? Who said that because you wife, you got to be cleaning the dishes and you got to be cleaning the house and you got to be doing, like, who said that? Where do we get that foundation from? Right? I really want to hear from y'all. Where do we get that foundation from? Who said that we had to do that? Who said that it was the husband's responsibility to do the trash and to make sure that the vehicle was taken care of and to clean the gutters and to do, who said?
Right.
I see some, I ain't even on IG, Jesus. They said our ancestors. Somebody said our ancestors.
Our ancestors, what? What you think? Mom and them, great mom and them?
Let me see. Somebody said our ancestors. Okay. All right. Cancel. Okay. So our ancestors. Who?
So hold on. So you mean to tell me we can keep what our ancestors taught us when it comes down to roles in the house, but we can't keep what our ancestors taught us about keeping our legs closed and our dresses down and our zippers up? I'm talking about for the single folk. So we can keep what they talk about in the roles.
Baby, they answering the question.
I know. No. I love that where it came from.
That what you not gonna do is go for the people answering the question. She said the ancestors.
Hey, my bad. I wasn't coming for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't leave. Stay.
So let's unpack that from the ancestors. So the ancestors were the ones that were nurturing the babies, that were doing the certain things. Is that thunder? So when we think of the ancestors of speaking.
They played no lightning alarm at school earlier. It was supposed to rain earlier.
Okay.
So when we think about that from the ancestors' perspective, let's think about that, right? Let us unpack that. Yes, the women nurtured, the women cared for the household, but the women were also out in the fields too.
Oh.
Listen, my great grandmother, she had us laid out. We were stretched out in the fields, helping cutting certain and harvesting the different vegetables and the fruits and the sugar canes and all those different things. She was doing that. She was washing the clothes. She was hanging it on the line. She did both. That was because my great-grandfather was already dead by that time, but she did both. So if it was the ancestors, how do we go from differentiating, right? From the women only does this and then the men only do this? Because if we really, really take it back to the ancestors, right? And then during the certain times, if we're talking about the black culture and the African Americans, there were a lot of them that had to take a lot of men had to take subpar jobs just because they couldn't get into the union, although they had a really good trade.
Right, that's good.
They had a really good skill.
Go ahead now. You getting it.
Something else came in. It ain't on my phone yet. How come it ain't
Give
on my
it
phone?
Give it a minute, boo, because you still catching up.
Someone just entering the line.
Oh, no, they
She on IG.
It's always what works best. Nobody knows what's best for your marriage who is outside of it. That's so true. I'm so glad you said that, because that's the whole point. And so, y'all, I gotta see if we could repost it, or what do you do what do you do when you share the video and then you decided looking at it? Because when I tell y'all they was going in on each other, they were going in, and I was like, but wait a minute. Who said that the wife had to do this thing and the husband had to do that thing? What really works for your household? What works for your lifestyle? What keeps things moving and going?
Right. That's the thing.
Duet. Thank you. Durant Enterprises, we gonna give you, listen, I need to reach out to you too.
Oh,
for real.
What up, dog?
Yes. So yes, if y'all are looking for credit restoration and education,
Right, hey.
make sure that you all reach out to Durant Enterprises.
Yeah, and check out, because it was actually on our podcast. Check out the podcast May episode.
Yes. So yeah, duet. I gotta make sure we do a duet because it was. I mean, they were going in because I was just like, what is going on? And I mean, and again, they were both saying valid points. And so the way that we get to overwhelm is because we are not doing enough, because I don't want to say we're not communicating, because most of the times the wives are communicating and they're saying, listen, I'm overwhelmed. These kids getting on my nerves. I got this. I'm working. The household is this. The household is that. And if we can truly be honest, sometimes when we're communicating certain needs about like the vehicle and some of the other things that, you know, the men are saying that I'm going to be responsible for, that's not done either. So the wife is normally taking care of everything and she is overcompensating for what's not being done. So how do we do a better job at making sure that we are hearing each other,
right,
and we are executing differently?
Right. And that's the thing. Mm-hmm.
Because like, so I could cook, but is that
feasible?
Is that the best function for the household?
For the household.
No, because I'm not the best cook.
So if
I'm not the best cook, and I don't have like, and it's not like, y'all, Eric gets a joy most of the time. I'm not gonna say all the time. Most of the time, out of just cooking, he gets a joy out of that. To me, it's an absolute chore. Oh, maybe the battery is low.
Oh.
On this one.
Sound like a personal thing. My bad.
So, are we willing to be able to put aside our egos and our pride and our different things to say, hey, like, let's reevaluate what we got going on in our household?
I got one better for you.
What's that?
Can we literally submit
to one another?
That's
good.
Because now I'm submitting.
Yeah,
I'm coming. I'm just trying to something.
You talking about y'all talking all mature now?
So, right? It's like, can you now submit to one another? Can you submit to what runs your household in a peaceful way? If that means that, hey, if you're better at cooking, why be stuck on men? Why be stuck on... I got one to do one better. Ladies, if you get a joy out of cutting the grass and it's a chore for your husband, why not switch?
Yeah, my mother used to love cutting the grass, y'all. I mean, loved cutting the grass. She would be out in the yard cutting the grass. She'd be out there trying to what was it? Our steps one time. We had brick steps leading up to our front door. They had kind of started collapsing, and she had to figure that thing out. Eric went over and helped her, but she was not willing to just allow him to do it. She had a joy out of just doing like outside stuff.
Right. I let her go.
Now I never had that joy.
No.
She absolutely loves it. Well, loved it. She loved doing that stuff.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So, but why we had a hard time to submit, because this is what has been ingrained in my mind. If it's been ingrained in my mind, you can literally change your mindset to like, yo, what works best for my household?
But I got a question, right? When you think of submitting to one another, what does that really mean to you?
Ooh.
Like, let's really break that down, because a lot of times we only think that we just got to do what each other say. What does, when I say, or when Eric says, or when we say, submit to each other, what does that mean to you?
Right. Ooh.
That's like, really, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, what that mean to you? Yeah, light it up. Come on. Type fast.
Questions, comments? Nope.
Actually, you got one on Wild. Hold on, let me see. It was, I don't know if y'all answered it.
What does submitting to each other mean?
It was, y'all probably answered it. But
is it? Oh.
It's kind of off topic, so I can bring it back after.
Okay. Is it just that I'm just doing what Eric asked me to do? Or he's just doing what I'm asking him to do? Is that what we think that submit is? Like, what really, when we said, or even when the scripture is telling us, submit you one to another. Like, what specifically does that mean?
No, boo, that's the wrong one. That's not the one they read. You gotta go to the one that's always being quoted. It says, wives, submit to your husband. As you know, we're gonna jump straight to those. Y'all, you know.
Ooh, this is so good.
What?
JD Gemini 89 said, it feels like I'm being a yes man, but I know that's my ego. Can I just salute you when saying that? Like, I love that you said that. Only because, like, a lot of times we can feel like it's just being a yes man, but that truly isn't even, it's not even the essence of submission.
Come on now.
Right? So, y'all know I got to. Ooh, that's lightning, y'all. That's lightning, Jesus. Y'all, if our lights go out, we gonna have to,
Hold on.
Someone says supporting each other and filling in gaps as needed.
supporting each other and filling in gaps as needed. That's coming in from TikTok.
Someone else said serving and honoring.
You said serving and honoring. Good. What else? That's it?
Take care of one another fully, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Okay. Taking care of each other physically.
Fully. So like physically.
Taking care of each other fully.
So physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Physically, mentally, and spiritually. Okay. I like it. Let's see. Y'all, let's see what the Hebrew definition is. So, to submit is to serve.
Yeah.
It's to serve. So when you think that, okay, and it says to submit one to, babes, can you grab that scripture where it says,
got you.
but to submit is to serve. So when we're thinking about submitting to one another, we are serving each other. So that means that if I do this well, then I'm going to serve my spouse and where my strength is, and I know it's his weakness. So I'm going to serve him. So for a real life example, right? Eric is a better cook than I am. Let's see. No, let's do one more, a little bit more simple. Washing clothes. I can wash the clothes, but if I wash the clothes, it's gonna take me a whole week. Because I get distracted very easily. So I'll start the clothes, I might change a load or two, and then I done forgot that I'm washing clothes. And it'll be the end of the week and people looking for underwear and t-shirts and they all in the washer or the dryer and we all kind of looking crazy. Eric, on the other hand, will start washing the clothes, will wash a whole load. Once he starts, he will not go to bed until everything is done. So it's like sun up, he starts. Before we go to bed, all of the clothes are washed and dried. He hates folding and putting them up.
So you might have to get a wrinkled shirt if you ain't put them up.
Right. So he hates putting them up. So how we submit to one another, just in that one simple example, is he'll wash the clothes. When they come out, I will fold them and I'll put them up. Or I'll fold them and have them set aside because Eric's closet is kind of high and I'm a little vertically challenged. So I can't reach all his compartments inside of his closet. So then I will, fold them and set them aside so that he can put them up. But it's all done cohesively as a team. So he's serving me, right, by washing them all. I'm serving him by folding the clothes and putting them up or setting them aside for him to be able to put them up.
You know what? I'm finna put my own self on blast right here.
What's that?
So let me tell y'all something, y'all. See, this is why I had to ask about the whole ego thing, right? Because I was getting, during the times when I was folding clothes. So I'm gonna tell y'all, no, our marriage ain't perfect. We still working through stuff as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, just simply with the whole folding clothes thing, with the laundry, I had been wondering, and I was getting in my feelings because when, like, if she can't do it, then I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and just put the clothes up. If they've been sitting on the bed for too long, I'll go ahead and fold and put the clothes up. Then it's a chore for me. I'm feeling overwhelmed that whole night. And so I would put her clothes up. Yeah, that joint hurt. You all right?
My knee, Jesus.
It hit you on you hit the patella.
Oh,
you hit
Lord,
the patella.
That's the edge too.
I just gotta let it come. I can't do nothing. That's why I ain't rushing to her aid because she gotta just let the pain subside.
Yeah.
Woo!
She hit the patella on that door handle fixing thing.
Trying to see this comment on IG.
I tell you, but wait till you come through. Give it time.
Lord.
Don't you have it on your phone?
don't you, boo? You had to give it time to come through. Look,
No,
she just came through.
but I missed something because I got off. It says being vulnerable and transparent to each other. Yes, I love that. I love that.
Boo, I got to finish my statement.
Go ahead.
first.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry.
So I know, just
Ooh,
she hit her
Jesus.
patella. So and so it's so funny, y'all, because I got in my feelings because when she would fold, I done did all this washing. She done folded the clothes, put hers up, but then left mine hanging. And I forgot, now my closet, all of my stuff is like up
high.
and I'm like, you can't get no stool? You know what I'm saying? But this is what's in my mind. I never said anything until now to understand, because she would just leave mine. She ain't say nothing to me. She was just leave them. And so now I was in my feelings. I said, you know what?
Mercy.
And I said, Lord, you got to help me kind of bring this thing to how to talk about this, because I don't want to be upset. Because so when I started folding clothes, I didn't put hers up. I just left them there. I just left them. Put up your own dang clothes.
But I was okay with that. So the difference is I didn't, and not until you just said something.
I was gonna say I didn't know.
I didn't feel like it was out of animosity. I didn't feel like it was out of anything. It was just, okay, if he did it, then okay, let me serve him in this way, because there was a reason why he didn't get it to my closet, and I'm okay with that. I never knew it was because you
But
you
no.
was in your feeling.
But look, this is how the enemy can cause a rift.
Yeah.
This is
simple. Yeah.
This is it's the simple stuff. It's like ain't never really been an issue, but now it became an issue. And I'm just so when she said that, I was just like, man, look at the devil trying to cause another rift. And I'm right because it'd be the smallest thing.
Yes, he is. What's good, Black Love and Marriage? He being petty today.
What? What I do? Hey,
not putting the clothes up. Hey, y'all.
Hey, any questions, concerns, comments?
That hurt Jesus.
That's that patella.
Someone says supporting each other, process, understanding where each other are. So I believe it changes over time.
Yeah. Processing and understanding where each other are, and it does. It changes over time, but it's important that you understand like what that is. To submit is not just to answer or just to do what your spouse is saying. It really is coming from a place of serving each other. And when you're doing that from those areas of like the strengths and weaknesses. Again. And some of the comments says, my problem is a lot of men look at helping out as a favor to the wife and not their role or responsibility. That's so true, and that's a problem.
Hold on, say that again.
So a lot of men look at helping out as a favor to the wife and not their role or responsibility.
Hold on, is it a lot of men or is it your man? We gotta put it in perspective.
But if you think about it, right? And if you think, I told you don't put coming for the audience.
No, I'm just asking.
Coming for my people.
I'm just asking.
Listen.
I'm just asking.
So, I don't, but here's what I, like, think about all the times that you did something because you wanted sex. Or you did something because you wanted something from me.
So now.
No.
So now.
No. In that one statement that you just made, coming from my audience, coming from my sisters, right? You just said, is that a lot of men are your man?
It's not a valid question.
Think about your situation when you were doing something.
I don't have that situation.
Not now.
Watch out now. Watch out. I'm sorry, my bad.
Answer the question. but when it was an issue for you because you didn't understand, whether it was because you weren't mature enough to understand, whether it was because you were being selfish,
or was it because you was holding back the goods for whatever reason?
Whether I was holding back the goods or not, you still chose to do certain things as a result.
As a favor.
Right. Whether it was a favor for me or because you were trying to get something out of it.
Yeah. Because think about it. So think about it. So when we talk about it, so when we say, hey, just like say men do this. So then we got to look at, okay, then what was my role? And so my husband had to feel he had to really go above and beyond for him to have sex or to receive whatever that case may be. Is it open enough? Because think about it. What did we do? We came together and we talked like, yo, why do I speak your language, right?
We had to have a conversation.
I speak your language, but I don't get no reward. But then, but understand, so we literally had to have a conversation because like now, like I said, now I don't do stuff because how can I say it? I start having sex in the morning. Excuse me, I said I start my foreplay when we arrive, when we wake up. So then therefore I'm treating her as the queen she is to me, even when we have our ups and downs.
But pause there for just a moment because that shifted because it wasn't always the case.
No, right.
So now
right.
So back to the valid point is why do men feel?
Are you trying to keep me in line with the No, go.
Why do men feel, whether it's men or women, right?
Right.
Why do they feel like they have to do something out of a favor versus it just being their responsibility to love on their spouse?
Because sometimes
to care for their spouse.
Because think about it. Because at first, number one, I didn't know how to communicate it, and then number two, I start facing all these other barriers and trying to communicate it. And then oftentimes, even because remember, at first, you wasn't really ready to receive it because there were other things that was in the midst that was causing hang-up.
Well, because I was already used to when you was doing something, like I already knew the game. I was like, what you want? Like I already knew the game.
But now
I knew that it was a process of you went above and beyond because you wanted something from me.
But did y'all see the response, right? The response she just gave was what? Oh, you're a kid.
Right.
So now your response, you're treating me like a kid. Why? Now why do I have to you see what I'm saying?
But that was because you were acting like one.
Because I'm going above and beyond to cook or go above and beyond
because it wasn't
to do these things.
And you only did it when you were looking. So it was almost like, you know how when you reward like the kids, they're on good behavior because they're getting the prize at the end of the day.
Right.
Right? When they're in school. So when you think about that, it was almost that same behavior in the marriage being reciprocated. I'm going above and beyond because I'm looking for a prize versus I'm just going to love my wife because of who she is. I'm going to love my wife because I understand her role. Like I understand who she is. I understand our assignment. I understand what's going on inside of the marriage. Like I'm just going to love her because I just love her.
Right.
Not because I want anything extra.
Right. I feel it right. But at the same time.
You just gonna keep on, right?
No. At the same time, you gotta also look at it because this is one thing that a lot of men deal with.
Yeah.
They deal with being that their wife treat them as a kid.
So how did we shift?
Huh? Well, for number one, you got to know how to communicate.
No, how did we shift?
How did we shift? We sat down and talked about it. I mean, it started out nice and hot and steamy, but when we got our minds together.
About to go.
I'm going to plug it up.
You gonna plug it up?
Mm-hmm.
That's the second time it came on. All right, IG, we trying to get a cord so that we can make sure we don't lose y'all.
Time to go to the YouTube.
He said no. Eric stepping on toes. Listen. Oh man. Honey, I have a cord in my office. Yo, my knee really does hurt. I was trying to get to that comment and messed up that knee. And how, I was going to say, as he's coming back, I know for me, after we had that conversation, huh?
I need a block.
I have one in my office, baby.
Oh, here you go. My bad.
Oh, is that mine?
No, it's mine.
Oh.
It's still gonna work though. I forgot.
We got it,
you got
bags. Yeah.
Hey, don't. That's how Mom killed her battery.
Oh, mine was dead.
Oh.
Oh no. There we go. So I know for
Hi, y'all.
after we had you so silly.
How's everybody? Praise the Lord.
You so silly.
Thank you for joining us.
So when Eric and I had that conversation, right, and it was not an easy conversation to have. We went from, we were married at 18 and 19 years old, and so we went from literally being kids to adults together.
Fastly.
So it wasn't an easy conversation for us to have. But when he was like, babes, like why are you always talking to me like I'm a kid? Because I was, because he was acting like one. And so he was like, but like that's like disrespectful, like that's. And so for me, I didn't realize it was disrespectful, because I'm like, well, you acting like that. Like, how else am I supposed to treat you if that's what keeps showing up? And so I had to make a conscious effort to not treat him like a child, although he was acting like a child sometimes. Because as we were growing, right, as we were maturing together, like literally, emotionally, physically, like mentally, like we literally grew up like from kids to adults together. And we had to learn some things together. We were out of our homes and we didn't have like examples to learn these different things. And so I had to make a conscious effort not to treat him like a child, although he kept acting like one. And so we would have constant conversations to say, hey, listen, like you asked me not to treat you this way. So like I'm gonna need you to level up, because I don't know what else to do at this point. And then he started to change.
But at the same time, you still have to own what you are bringing to the table.
I absolutely did.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Oh, no.
Y'all see it?
I absolutely did.
So you have to literally own what you bring to the table, because it's always easy to point the finger versus looking at the fingers that's pointing back at you. Absolutely. Because you have more fingers pointing back at you than you have the one going to the other person. So when I point, this is why I do this. And
I didn't realize like my tone and how I was communicating.
Right.
Like there were so many different things that contributed or attributed to like how I was communicating, or even how he was acting. Like y'all, again, for y'all that don't know, y'all first timers, he is a mama's boy and he is the baby.
Whoa, calm down. You don't have to say it so rough.
I'm just saying.
That is not a negative thing.
Was it rough?
It is not a negative. Y'all heard how that tone.
I mean,
check your tone. Check your tone.
Rough.
Check your tone. Come on, because she said the same thing.
It had a little stank on it. Oh, I didn't think so. That's all right. Right. And so being able to overcome that, y'all, it was a struggle sometimes. And so it was
it was a struggle sometimes.
Baby, it was a struggle sometimes.
From going under.
It was a struggle. And so we had to work through that. So
right.
You have to make sure, number one, you just got to make a decision to do something different,
right.
regardless if your spouse changes or not.
Right. And that goes down even to the roles that you all have. What is more feasible for your household? It starts with the communication part. What is more feasible? Baby, what are you good at?
Changed that was we came together and we talked, and I tell you the first time, and I won't sit up here and lie to you and make you feel like after the first time it changed, because no, we had to have constant conversations around what it is we were doing, how we were doing it, and then we created the love-hate list. So when we were saying, like, going throughout the process of trying to change and make change and become better versions of who God created us to be, what we were doing was we were jotting down those things that we loved about each other, and then jotting down those areas where they still need improvement. Mm-hmm. And then we would come together at the end of the week, we would come together at the end of the month and say, hey, listen, these are the things that I love about you, and these are some of the areas that still need improvement. And so what I'm like literally desiring is that, like, how do we get from here to here? Right. And then we help each other through the process to be able to get to the other side. And that was another thing that somebody mentioned, is because it's teamwork. A lot of people don't view marriage as a team. They look at it more defensively, and then they get the upper hand. And that's so true. Like, who is gonna be the loudest, right? Who is gonna be on top? Who is gonna be the rule? Who gonna be the king of the house? Like, It's all these different dynamics back and forth when it really is not necessary. When you come together as a team, you'll understand that those dynamics shift so much. They shift so much.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing, man, is that you cannot forget the reason why, number one, that you said I do, right? And then you gotta always remember you're not enemies. You are literally on the same. You're literally on the same team. So it's like, how do we come together to do this? How do we come together to do this? So think about it. I gotta look at it in the form of baseball, right? In the form of baseball only got 9, just like soccer. You have, I think it's 9. You know what I'm saying? That's going out. You have that same 9 that's on the field the entire time. So you gotta know, and like basketball, you have that same 5 that's gonna be running up and down the court where they have to play offense and defense together. And so understanding everybody has their specific role that they can play, but they're not hindered to that one role.
Right.
Because when you look at Abib will bring, I think that's that man's name, he plays center, but you done seen this dude bring the ball up the court and play like he's the point guard. And so what I'm saying is, you got to know, okay, what can you do best? Well, in this moment, I know that this is not your norm, but because of what's taking place, babe, can you take care of this? Can you do this? Like in the beginning when the spouse lost the job, babe, I get it, I understand, but can you do this? I need you to bring the ball up the court this time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because think about it. The captain, he's just the one that got to go talk to the ref. Right? But he still has a role, or she still has a role to play.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So even if someone goes down, that captain still got to kind of step in as well, and not step from the norm position and run another one.
Yeah.
But it's all about how this team gonna come together and win. Think about it. All of your championship teams, they knew how to play together. So guess what? In marriage, y'all got to stop allowing the loss to define what your marriage is. It's like, no, we get to go back into practice, back into the locker room. We get to go back where it's just us, and we get to talk out what's taking place.
Oh.
What happened?
We're going to take the last few comments. Let me just hit this one from IG real quick, and then I'll let you do all TikToks and Facebook and YouTube.
What I missed?
So we want to thank y'all so much, number one, for tapping in and for being engaged tonight. But they said, the dynamic changed for me when my husband don't feel like he needed to walk on the closest side of the street or to the street when we're walking. LOL. And then men need to know it's the little things. And it's so true. It's the little things. I was at a real estate event earlier this week, and I was talking to some officers. One was retired and one was still serving on the police force. And they were just talking about their wives and how, because the event was at a hotel. So one of the wives had already called the husband, was like, are you at such and such hotel? Like, what are you doing at the hotel? Because apparently, I guess he forgot to tell her that he was going to this event that was at the hotel. And so, they were just talking about the wives and kind of just their dynamics of different things and how they were doing it. I said, I'm going to just drop this to you guys just real quick. I said, sometime today, maybe in the next 30 minutes or an hour, just send them a text message, because they're used to you guys always being gone. You're police officers. They're at home holding down the fort at the house. They're doing all these different things. And then when you do come home, right, you've been out with your cape all day. Right? Saving the world, saving lives, getting, attacked on the streets, like all these different things. But when you come home, wifey hadn't had you all day. She's still expecting you to come home with your cape on. She's still expecting you to come home and do all these different things. And you tired. They're like, yeah, man, we be tired. I said, just do this. Throughout the day, whenever you think about her or whenever it comes up, just send her a text and say, hey, babes, I'm just thinking about you. It's the little things. Right? So men, you stand closest to the street. If you don't already know this, when you're walking on the sidewalk, you stand closest to where the cars are coming. Where the danger is. So that your wife is not, so you are exposed to the danger before your wife is. Right. That is a part of being the prophet, the priest, and the king of your home, because now you're being the protector and you're providing that security. It's a lot of men that don't know that.
Right.
Sometimes it's not just that they don't want to do it, but a lot of men just
They
don't know that. You go and you open up the door for your wife to let her know, listen, I am opening up the door so that you can have access to go in and feel like royalty when you're walking in. You don't have to worry about touching the door. Listen, hands down, when Erica's with me, I don't touch no doors. It drives my sister insane, and sometimes my daughter insane.
Oh, like today.
I will not open up a door. Only because he's with. I will stop. Like when we go out on double dates with couples, sometimes they be like, what she waiting for? Oh, Eric can be like, let me get up front so I can open the door. Only because I'm used to that level of care. And so it just, again, the royalty. And so it's important that we don't lose the chivalry. It's important that we do the small things. It's important. And then while at the same time, love on him.
Yeah.
Right? Touch him.
Yeah.
Right? Let him know that he's amazing. Let him know that you want him. Let him know that you desire him.
Oh, man.
Last questions, comments from TikTok.
So someone asked, do you believe a marriage can grow while living with your husband's mother and
I cannot understand what you're saying. Can
Do
you?
you believe a marriage can grow while living with your husband's mother and her husband if he's a mama's boy?
It can.
It can.
You just have to be very intentional. And you have. It can.
It can grow. It can. It can. It can. So
yeah,
we're gonna answer that. It can.
Yeah, it can.
And Mr. Ernest, very good conversation. You said, can I say that we call things of being not as though they were?
Yeah, you can call it. You can call it.
Okay. And then does God treat us like we're more than conquerors before we are?
It's your belief system.
It's what, yeah.
Yeah, because the word has already established us as that.
Right.
It's whether or not we believe we're that.
Come on, babe.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah, for sure.
And can we speak what we want to see to our spouse by faith until they become it?
You can.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna tell you is faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
So if they don't do what's necessary to change, and they don't have a divine intervention or encounter with God, it won't change.
And this is this. If you don't treat them what you're speaking.
That's good too.
Because if you're speaking it, you got to treat it as such until that encounter takes place. But if you can't speak you're my
good.
But if you're not gonna put in the work and begin to treat them as though they are what you're speaking, then what are you actually waiting on? Because the encounter, but then it's about how consistent are you gonna be with it.
Yeah, but again, I do not want to give you no false sense of hope. You can speak it all you want to, but faith without works is dead. You got to do the work. Just like praying. You can pray for your spouse. You can do all these different things, but faith without works is dead. When you finish praying, you got to change. When you finish praying, you got to do something different.
You got to put in
You
work.
got to make sure that you're putting in the necessary work for you. You cannot change your spouse.
No, you can't.
But for you, how will you respond differently? How will you show up differently? You can't just pray and think that it's going to happen.
You still got to, right. And you got to be consistent at it.
Yeah.
So if it takes a year or two, are you still going to be consistent at it?
Yeah. But it's a yes, you can.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, y'all.
That's it?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, wait, in the beginning, Miss Bree, it was around when y'all were talking about, she first asked the question, how do you approach talking about bills when the wife makes more? And
I thought we answered it.
No, you did.
No, there was a question within that she was saying.
Oh, okay.
How do you discuss it upon restoration?
Ooh, that's good. How do you deal with handling the bills and doing also upon restoration? You
have to let that topic be the topic and not the areas of where you're sore at or where
That's
you're
good.
still healing from.
That's good.
So if we're gonna talk about the bills, then we're gonna talk about the bills. But then this is what you were saying just a few seconds ago, babe. That if you're praying restoration, then when you talk about the bills, you got to talk about the bills as though everything has already been restored.
And being mindful that you still have to rebuild the trust.
Right.
Right. There is no, and have that expectation. Right. The expectation is, yes, we're going through the restoration process, so it may not be what it was before. And being able to understand that expectation and to be able to take baby steps as to what you're comfortable with together as a team. Because as a team, you may only be comfortable with bringing 1 or 2 bills to the table because the trust has not been fully restored yet. And so as you're continuing to build the trust, continue to take baby steps and increase, and add what additional bills we're going to bring together. Right? It's a part of the restoration process. So being very mindful as you understand with the restoration process, you still have to build trust together.
Mm-hmm. So
Right.
So that was so awesome. So I just want to let you all know. Listen, we have a book.
You got the book.
Know your role in your marriage, and we also have a journal that comes with it. So you can grab it from our website. That's marriagetakeover.com. Click on shops and go ahead and order your book today. All right. So I just want you to know that book is right there on the line. You can actually go and grab it. Even I think we got it on Amazon. Yes, it is a bestseller. So go ahead on and grab your copy today.
What was that supposed to be, babes? That was your version of the QVC
That's
commercial?
the commercial, Slim.
Or QVS? It's QVC, right?
And go ahead and grab your copy today.
So if you are really looking to better understand your role, if you're looking for a guide to be able to kind of, with you and your spouse to come together to actually journal and talk about some things, write some things out. We've got question prompts in there that you probably have never considered to talk about before inside of your marriage with each other, and how you define your marriage, right? Your marriage is what you created.
Right.
And so if you're looking to be a part of that, kind of have a guide as to what that looks like just because you didn't have a blueprint before. Know your role in your marriage with that book bundle is definitely going to be a blessing to you. So you can get that at marriagetakeover.com under our shops list or our store. And we'll be happy to get that copy out to you guys. So we love y'all. We appreciate y'all for hanging in there with us. We're normally here every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for an hour. Normally we're cooking in the kitchen and we're having a conversation with you. Tonight was a little different. But thank you guys so much for going over the time with us just a little bit. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We will see y'all on Monday morning, couples prayer. We will both be back. Are we doing it Monday? Monday is a holiday. Are we doing prayer Monday?
Yeah. That's only Labor Day.
Oh.
That's only Labor. She can stay She can stay asleep. She can stay asleep.
We'll both be back on Monday.
She can
Couples
stay
prayer,
asleep.
9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, y'all have an amazing weekend. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. I'm your girl, Tamika. Oh, well, go ahead and tell them, baby.
So also, if you would like to stay connected with us, you can follow us at Marriage Takeover, all things Marriage Takeover. That's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Alright, so we appreciate you all, and also if you would like to join our Facebook group, go ahead on and jump on in the Facebook group. Make sure you answer the 3 questions, and guess what? Go ahead.
It's your girl Tamika.
It's your boy E-Rock, man.
And it's Marriage Takeover signing out, y'all. We love you guys.
Hello.
Love y'all. Have a great night.
What Bree say?
She said y'all homework is a membership.
What she say?
Us at homework. Bree.